Hi guys, my name is Stephanie and I'm doing a review of The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug comes out, I think, tomorrow, so I'm going to do this review and then hopefully have the next one up within the next few days, weeks, whenever I get around to it. So watch and enjoy. Thanks, guys. Okay, guys, as some of you may know, I like to do 4 basic categories. I like to do the actors and the characters, the storyline, the good and the bad of the movie, what I liked and didn't like, and how it was made, and what was good and bad, and all that fun stuff. And then I like to end with some trivia. So the first character I'm going to talk about is Thorin Oakenshield, played by Richard Armitage, and he's the main character of this movie. He's the dwarf prince who gets his kingdom taken over by the dragon, and he's going to try and take it back. And I really didn't like his character, at all. He was supposed to be like this scorned and vengeful character who's going to reclaim his rightful place on the throne, and he just comes across as whiny and arrogant and a tiny bit racist. He just is like, I hate elves and I don't like hobbits either, and I'm not too keen on wizards because I tend to just ignore the advice they give me. I just really didn't like him at all. He was so annoying in the entire movie. I'm just like, you're a jerk, and I don't like you at all. Ian McKellen plays Gandalf the Grey. I'm sorry, correction. Ian McKellen is Gandalf the Grey. He's perfect for that role, and he does a perfect job, and seamlessly from The Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit, it's amazing. Okay, and then of course the other main character is Bilbo Baggins, played by Martin Freeman. I've seen Martin Freeman in Sherlock and in many other things, and I really like him, and I really love the way he plays Bilbo. He really translates that character from The Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit very well, and I really liked him. I felt like he had a specific comedic timing that was perfect for Bilbo Baggins, but it wasn't too obvious, and I really enjoyed him. He was one of my favorite characters. So the movie starts out with Bilbo Baggins in the Shire, and there's a cameo by Elijah Wood as Frodo Baggins, which was kind of fun to see, and then it flashbacks to Bilbo's adventure that he takes and when he first meets Gandalf, which was hilarious. I loved seeing Ian McKellen and Martin Freeman together. That was really fun. Then all the dwarves show up, also hilarious scene, and I really liked how they were singing and dancing dwarves. It reminded me of Merry and Pippin and all of their drunken shenanigans where they sang songs. That was fun. Finally, Bilbo agrees to go on this adventure that he wasn't planning on going on, and that's when we meet Radagast. And that's where the story, I guess, kind of starts to get a little weird for me. Radagast was a weird character, which is fine because he's supposed to be kind of a weird character. But he just kind of does weird things, and then he's got the hedgehog that kind of makes squeaky, talky noises that I didn't really get, but it gets worse. That's when you meet the trolls. I hated the trolls. The first experience we've had with trolls was in The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, when we met the cave trolls, which didn't talk. Which, cave trolls and mountain trolls can be two different things. It's fine that the mountain trolls can talk, but they're just big and dumb and stupid, and they do all this over animation where they sneeze into things, and it was really kind of just immature filmmaking for me. It was just I was watching it I thought I was watching The Lord of the Rings, not a really B-list movie with stupid snot jokes. The story goes up from there. There's a pretty cool battle with all the orcs that I really liked. And then when they get to Rivendell, this is the high point of the movie for me. There's Lord Elrond's back, Galadriel's back, and Saruman's there, and he plays a good guy, and there's this really cool meeting with all of these characters and Gandalf, and they're talking about the ring, and you're I know what's gonna happen, and it's pretty cool to see the precursor to all that fun stuff. The visually impressive part of this movie was right after all the dwarves leave Rivendell, and there's the stone giant battle, which is really cool. I remember sitting in the movie theater and just thinking wow, that was really impressive to see the animation do all that. The low point of the movie is when we meet the goblins and the Goblin King, and I'm going to do a little spoiler alert for you. They do kill the Goblin King, and I gotta say, not only do the goblins sing and dance, but the animation was really poor because first off, they didn't look anything like the original goblins, and second off, the Goblin King has this weird neck fat that moves like 800 times more than his face does, and it's distracting to look at, and it just looked really, really bad. And then he sings, and then when they slice his stomach open to kill him, he like looks up and is like, well, that'll do it, and you're just like, did that really just happen? Did they really just put that line in there where the Goblin King said something stupid while he's bleeding to death everywhere? And then he falls on top of all the dwarves, and it's just, it was really, really sad part where I was just like, what am I watching right now? Then finally at the end of the movie, there's a battle between all the dwarves and the white orc, which looks nothing like an orc at all, and if you ask me, looks more like an albino avatar creature from the movie Avatar. Does anybody else see this, or is it just me? It was incredibly distracting. Also, one of my favorite parts of The Lord of the Rings was all the real makeup that they did for the Uruk-hai and the orcs. You know, those weren't computer animated, those were people walking around with prosthetics and makeup on their face, and I really wish they had done that with the white orc. I think it would have looked a little bit more realistic and less cartoonish, I guess. I really just didn't like the white orc at all. I didn't really get it. I mean, he could have been so much scarier than he was if it had been a real person, but that's just my opinion. I just really, really didn't like him. The movie ends with the eagles showing up, which of course save them at the last minute, and then fly them apparently all over Middle Earth and then drop them off at least 100 miles away from their destination. And then the final scene is just so bad because it's like Peter Jackson literally said, you know, tall in back, short in front, look off into the distance like you care about something. It was just a really bad shot, really, really cliche. I rolled my eyes several times during the last scene. Lord of the Rings fan. I love the Lord of the Rings movies, and this was just so subpar for me. I'm really sorry, guys. I've already told you guys what I liked and what I didn't like. As far as the movie was made, the big thing about this movie was that it was made with 48 frames per second, which, if you don't know what that means, most movies are made in about 28 frames per second, which means, like, if you were to look at a roll of film and each of those little pictures is one frame, and so 24 of those makes up 1 second of the film, and so Peter Jackson essentially doubled that, supposed to make it a little bit smoother and a little bit cleaner to the eyes. I didn't really notice it until I guess all the computer animation scenes. They definitely flowed a little bit smoother. I've heard it's a lot better in 3D. I saw the movie in 2D. But all in all, I didn't really notice it or anything like that. Definitely not enough to really comment in depth about it. Alright guys, how about some trivia? You know, because there was a lot of fun trivia, and if you want more trivia, you can go to imdb.com. There's a trivia section. That's where I get all my information from. And there's a lot of really fun things about the movie. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the character Bombear. I'll show a picture of him. The whole movie, he doesn't say a single word, and he's the only one to not say a word. The next bit of trivia is this is the second movie franchise to ever have a prequel trilogy, the first, of course, being Star Wars with Episode 1, 2, and 3. Another is this is the first movie in the series of the Lord of the Rings Hobbit franchise to not be nominated for Best Picture. I wonder why. The last one I'm going to talk about is the prosthetics for the Hobbit feet in the first Lord of the Rings movies. They were from the ankle down. They put them on like shoes. And in this movie, they changed it completely, where all of the hobbits, the prosthetics went all the way up to their knees, which I thought was pretty interesting. I don't know why they changed it, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to my channels. I do movie reviews all the time. Hopefully the next one I'm going to do is The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. So I'll have that up relatively soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.